time, you know, when we went to Paris in April and come back with our tail between our legs because we were suitably hockeyed. There's a long list of players who made their first appearance in an Irish shirt in Paris in April and were never seen again. The French are a bit like that. They can cut you to pieces. A few days ago, I would have thought we're going to France and maybe we could just nick a victory and move onwards and upwards to a championship, possible Grand Slam, you know, Triple Crown, all that kind of stuff. It's all now ashes in our mouths. And I think we're going to Paris, not really honestly thinking we can win, but rather can we put up a performance and come away with our heads held high. What are we going to do? I wish I knew. But there are some answers, I think, that the game against Wales clearly brought up. One is that Les Kiss, who was previously the defensive coach, is now the defensive coach and the attack coach. And it seems to me that he spent more time in this match preparing our attack than rather our defence, because our defence was terrible. Cast your mind back the number of times you saw Mike Phillips not running aggressively, not running fast at scrum half for Wales, but just simply moving and nobody taking him on. The defence was absolutely passive. You look at all the great teams, of which the Welsh are one, where the defence comes up hard and fast. We're simply not doing that. So there must be a change. What would I do? I'd bring Tommy Bowe in to give us just simply a bigger man in the centre. I think, sadly, and it happens to all players, it's time to call the curtain on Gordon Darcy, and I put McFadden at 12 and Bowe at 13. Johnny Sexton. I thought Sexton had a good match, but I thought it was outrageous that you take him off with 3 minutes to go, sending out a clear signal that you don't think that Sexton can close out a rugby match. Sexton should have been allowed to play the full 80 minutes. Hindsight's an easy thing, but I don't think it would have made a blind bit of difference who played fly half in those last 3 minutes. You then come to the nub of the problem. What are we going to do with the pack? Well, strangely enough, although many people are calling for Donnacha Ryan to replace Donnacha O'Callaghan, there's not a lot in it either way. Certainly not enough to determine us beating the French. The crunch is at back row and scrum half. I think if you're going to pick Sexton and fly half, you should pick Redden at scrum half. Redden, who runs more, who places a greater threat for the opposing back row than Murray, who simply passed the ball for 80 minutes. And then the $64,000 question, what about the back row? The point is that each of these individuals, as an individual, is an outstanding player. The problem is, as a unit, they simply don't work. It's the equivalent of having a back row of Ivan Yates and George Hook. They just never work, even if individually they might be quite talented. So what Kidney has to do here, I think, is change the makeup of the side. Ask yourself this simple question. What are Sean O'Brien's greatest attributes? Carrying the ball, running at defenders. He never gets an opportunity to do that when you play him at 7 because he's on the ground trying to win the ball at the ruck, and the Welsh, as will the French next week, be perfectly happy to keep him on the ground for 80 minutes. Move O'Brien. Send a message to Ferris that you can't give away stupid penalties. You would have been 12 years of age, playing for your local community side, and the captain would have said with a minute ago, lads, no penos. And that's all we had to do, was avoid giving away a penalty. And we couldn't do that. Stupid, and I would say to Ferris, listen, you're not playing, lad, because you didn't have discipline. So put O'Brien to 6, Heaslip at 8, and despite all the criticism of me, did Heaslip have a good match? Yes, he did. By Heaslip's standards, did he have a good match? No, he didn't. And what we're looking for from players is that they play to the very limit of their ability. Is O'Mahony good enough? Young Peter O'Mahony from Munster? I don't know, but at least I'd like to find out. If we go into Paris with essentially the same back row and half backs, It's going to be a throwback to the good old amateur days where we're going to come home on the plane feeling pretty depressed.